little behind. Sorry, we have Steve and Lori Zeller have their grandson upstairs, Luke's son, Luke and Hope's son. So we've been recruiting him. He's almost 2. Giving him a little tour. Beth has been bribing him with little M&Ms and letting him move around. So it's good to see them. But go ahead. Oh, no, let me open. Rutgers, to me, is dangerous for so many reasons. Number one, they've got bona fide scorers that have done it for a period of time. And I know they're new to the Big Ten, but they're not new to college basketball. And what they bring is they pose issues. They bring some of the best of some of the other teams, that we've seen. You've got a guy like Miles Mack who can really shoot the ball, can change direction, change speeds, gets fouled the comparison would be Trimble from Maryland. You've got a guy like Kadeem Jack who can play in the middle of the lane, can play in the post, can do different things with creating offense for others, maybe more so like a Des Wells from Maryland. Bishop Daniels, I've seen him play since he was in high school, fully aware of what he's capable of. His numbers and percentages are solid, but he's a much better player even than that. And then they've got the tenacity to get on the glass of some of the other really good teams in this league. So we've got to take that viewpoint in everything that we do in this game, and at the same time get ourselves better. And that's what yesterday was about, with the exception of diving into Rutgers on film. But this is a game that they can play different speeds. They run a very good system of offense. Eddie Jordan is an outstanding coach. He's been an NBA head coach. Certainly has got the pedigree of success. He's got All-Americans. He's got Michael Corrin. I remember watching Michael Corrin at North Carolina. You guys are too young. Most of you are too young, but one of the great college players of all time. So they've got the tutelage there that's outstanding, and Eddie certainly was a great player in his own right. But to me, what we've got to do is we've got to be really focused on what we do well. We've got to be really focused on moving the ball quickly. Our transition defense has got to improve. I don't think there's any doubt about that, and there's got to be more of an urgency in that. Certainly, we've got to take care of the ball better and make it simpler and make our plays simpler and not try to make plays that are not there. And I think when our players see us trying to challenge A.J. Hammonds, and it looks as ridiculous to them on film as it does when you're trying to do it in the game. When you're driving the ball like Yogi does and keeping the drive alive and moving people around, then we're playing better. So we can get better on both sides of the ball. We will. JD pointed out we've played more road games than anybody else to this point in the Big Ten. And I know we're getting ready to go on the road again next week, but you just have to continue to move forward in everything that you do in this league. And when you win, you've got to learn from that. When you lose, you got to learn from that. And that's a sign of a very good team, when you can continue to learn from those areas. And we've got to continue to build a hunger that allows us to do that and allows us to make progress and continue to move forward into whatever the next challenge is, and Rutgers is for us. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've got to do a better job. The size is what it is. So we've got to do a better job with ball pressure. We've got to do a better job with deflections, being active, discouraging passes in. And what we wanted to do was make the touches into the post. We knew there's going to be catches, but make them harder. And at times we did. And we have to mix our defenses. Even when we're man, we have to mix that. And sometimes, certainly we're playing man, and then we jump zone based on a play or based on a decision that we've made. We've got to be active and alert. And then when that shot goes up, we've got to be tremendous at getting everybody inside of the paint. Well, the flip side is defensively, you can't have everybody inside of the paint when you're in half-court defense because people shoot the three so well. And the last thing that we wanted to do was give up a bunch of open shots on the perimeter to the guys that could make those shots. They did a very good job of continuing to move the ball, and they got us. It is certainly in transition in some places like that. They got us on some drives, but we've got to get better. We don't want to give up because we don't have that shot blocking size, right? We don't want to also look and say, well, you know what? We just could only take one thing away. Let's just get inside of the post, and if they make three, so be it. If you do that in this league, you'll lose a lot of games. We want to continue to build our three-point defense. So with all that being said, it just becomes more activity, becomes better setup and transition defense, becomes more activity with our feet and with our hands, and then everybody's got to get inside that paint when the shot goes up.
I guess as you watched the film of the last two games, what did those two teams, Ohio State and Purdue, do to take you out of your offense? It didn't feel like you guys, I guess, struggled with the physicality so much as maybe you let it take you out of the offense.
We didn't stay true to the simple principles, really, of just continuing to move the ball and cut and play. Our cutting was very poor at Ohio State. Our cutting was better at Purdue, but we didn't move the ball as well. You know, we're a movement offense. We're a use the full court, use the half court, and when we're not active and our screens aren't as good, and frankly, we didn't play enough out of the corners the other day. Colin didn't have the ball nearly enough against Purdue, which was an issue at halftime and continued to be an issue. Now, some of it was the ball movement wasn't as good. Some of it, Colin wasn't as aggressive. But when you've got 5 people on the court that you can play through, you have to play through those 5 people. And again, we played with our head down too much the other night. We were so focused on getting to the foul line and getting to the rim that we didn't let some of the simple things that were there come about. We got impatient. We cut it to 10 on Troy's steal, dunk, I think it was. We got very impatient. Instead of continuing to reverse, make them make a decision, move the big people around, make them guard the entire half court. And so we played into their help defense's hands a little bit. So there's definitely more room for improvement. There's as much room for improvement on that end as there is on the defensive end. Some of it is going to be in at times we've got to have much better recognition of when we're going too fast and when we're trying to make things happen that aren't there. So now maybe we've got to run more set plays. We've got to create the offense more out of the play. And then there's other times we just want to create the offense because we're playing. And getting that recognition down, at times we make strides in that, and at times we don't. In the last 2 games, we hadn't made strides there. Well, always you want to win, absolutely. And there's a bunch of teams sitting there right now that have 3 losses, with the exception of Wisconsin. So certainly you want to win. You don't prepare in these games to be close. You don't prepare in these games to be in it. You know, you prepare to win. You go into every game to win, and that's the mentality that you would take. So. Our mindset, I mean, we're working fine, and we've just got to carry it out in the games a little bit better, you know, like we have been as recently as last week, and just play that way. It's not as much about who you're playing as much right now just doing the things that make you be successful. And if you do that, you'll have a good psychological advantage.
Rutgers obviously started off with that big win over Wisconsin.
Hold on a second. I shouldn't say psychological advantage. That's not true. You have a good psychological edge, mindset. It's not advantage. Well, they've had injuries. There's no doubt about that. And it's a hard league. There's no doubt about that. So everybody goes through that. And everybody goes through it. Wisconsin hasn't gone through it yet, but it's still early in the season. And they're playing at such a high level because of the way they're getting to the glass. That's one of the more underrated things about Wisconsin. So even when they miss, they're putting themselves in position to get there. And I'm not trying to jump ahead to Wisconsin, just giving an example of they're staying very, very consistent with that. And everybody else has got to find those things that they do well and do them consistently well and find ways to do them every day. And that becomes the harder part. But to me, Rutgers is a very good rebounding team. Like we mentioned, with the 3 guys that can really score points. They've got junior E2 back now. He can play at the basket. I think they're really good around the bucket. I think they're really good at getting to the glass. And Miles Mack makes it go. He can score in the lane. He's like the other better guards around. He can get to the rim. He can score in the paint. And he certainly can score from 3. And he's very good at getting fouled. So he's in the line of excellent guards in this league. And Kadeem Jack provides a lot of issues because he can post, and he can play in the mid post. He can play in the wing. He can shoot. So they get a lot of good, and they got a great system. You know, with Eddie's system, which is more that Princeton style system. They've got a very good system with that. So they're a rhythm team, and when they're in rhythm, they're pretty good. And I think our job is to make sure we don't let them get in rhythm. Well, we just got to continue to build on that constantly. I think we drove the ball pretty well the other day, but we didn't make the next pass. And And sometimes when you're driving it, you're not as aware of how you're being played. And I think that's big. And I think what happens when you get down, when you've got a bunch of scores on your team, they want to be the ones that are going to help bring it back. And they're how they're wired, right? So you get a bunch of scores on the team. It's not a matter of selfishness. It's a matter of, I got to get going. I got to get us going. No, just let the offense do it. Let's get defensive stops and get out on the break. Let's keep getting to the offensive glass. We missed numerous opportunities to make baskets when we got offensive rebounds. We've got to get better there. We thought we could get to the glass, and we did. We just didn't capitalize nearly as much. So it's just a matter of that continued awareness and letting the offense and letting the spacing do the work. But you do the work by creating the spacing with your cuts and being ready to shoot and making that simple pass when you see the help, and continue to keep the defense moving as much as possible.
Rutgers is one of the worst teams in the Big Ten.
What now?
Rutgers is one of the, the lesser ranked teams with defending the three in the Big Ten. But how do you, keep walking that line between not wanting to overshoot from three and rely so heavily on that?
We just want to get good open shots and be ready to shoot, make the simple play. We don't put a number on the number of threes we're taking or anything like that. I don't even know what we're averaging 3-point wise right now. I should, but I don't. It doesn't make any difference to me as long as they're good shots. And we don't want to take quick, unless we're wide open on the break, we don't want to take quick first side ones. We want to get the ball through the paint, because I talk about it a lot. Well, it's true. I mean, our numbers are really high when the ball touches the paint, whether it's man or zone or whatever somebody's running. So when the ball gets inside, and then things get good for us. So that's really what it all comes down to. We don't put a lot of stock in. We played Maryland, and their 3-point defense was pretty high, right? We made 15 threes. So I mean, it's not like you go into it with that mindset. You go into it more with, this is how we have to play for us to be successful. Now, you will show what they try to take away, and you also try to show what you feel like you can get. But other than that, you just play.
Yogi made a comment the other night. He thought this team was playing soft, and I think he was speaking defensively. Is that maybe a message that this team is taking heart?
Oh, I don't know. You have to ask him. I didn't see the comment, so I didn't read anything, really. I thought we could have played a lot more aggressive. I don't think there's any question about that. But I think they practice hard. I don't really have much more I could say about that. I didn't see it.
Last question. Tom, you've obviously talked about you need to play more simple. Matt Painter said the same thing. Probably most coaches say the same thing. How hard is it, though, to get these guys to play simple, to not try to force things that aren't there?
You got to keep at it. I mean, you got to keep at it like anything else. We got some guys who can score points. But when we're moving the ball and playing through the paint and playing through the corners and getting reversed and back cutting and doing those kind of things, and really playing where we get struggle sometimes, our cuts, and somebody asked, Alex asked about the offense. Our cuts weren't as quick and as fast. They weren't scoring cuts. Against Ohio State, we didn't make as many cuts, but you got to cut to score. Now, in the Purdue game, we did get some really good back cut opportunities. We didn't make every one of them, but we moved the ball better. Sometimes it's just that. It's just playing with your head up. It's playing with your head up, the open man cuts, and hitting. So I guess it is simple, but it's harder to do inside of the game, and because you do feel like you can beat your man, but you want to be in a situation where you're really trusting the offense best that you can. Mike, you had a question.
Oh, just 7 teams all with 3 losses. This league just not differentiating himself?
Well, it's early. I mean, what are we at? The halfway? Yeah, we're at the halfway point. So, I mean, I think it's just, I would look at it as the glass is half full. It's a pretty strong league, and it's really hard to win on the road. And we've got 2 road wins. I'm not sure everybody else is on that. I mean, we had to work real hard to get both of them. We're proud of both of them. It's very, very hard to win on the road, let alone to hold your home court. So it's a tremendous league. It doesn't get enough credit and the coaches are always speaking it, but it doesn't get enough credit maybe on the middle and bottom rung, but especially the bottom rung, because that bottom rung would not be a bottom rung in very many leagues, because people can beat people in this league because everybody's got things that they do well. There's very few teams that don't shoot the ball or have people on their team that can't shoot it pretty well. And, we can score points in the paint. We're not necessarily scoring them off the post. Most people are able to score it off the post right now too. So it's a very balanced league, and with the exception of the way Wisconsin's playing right now. But like we said, it's halfway point. Yeah, I don't know if that's the issue with our transition D. I'm just not sure we just got to have that urgency that you have to have there. I don't. We had some quick shots, but I'm more concerned about our defense feeling the offense, you know, and getting us out in that area. And then no matter what happens offensively, you've got to have great transition defense. You just have to. So and we're not a big take corner threes. Corner threes are usually, you know, we got some guys can take those, but corner threes are usually going to create some real defensive transition imbalance for your team getting back if you miss them. But bottom line, we just got to do a much better. Purdue's a very fast team, and there were times we didn't respond well to that. But we're a fast team. We've got to keep making sure that we get defensive stops so that we can get out in transition. But again, some of our shots the other day were quick, but a lot of times they go in. The issues with the shots are when you're trying to challenge a shot blocker, when you can keep the ball moving and get a better shot by just driving them and moving them. And when we did that, we didn't make all the shots, but we had success with good looks. And when we tried to take them on, that's not a very smart play. And we got it. That's something I'd like to see us grow out of pretty quick. So.